Today we are talking about roots, specifically square roots and cube roots. Before we can talk about roots, we need to talk about numbers that are squared. So for instance, if we have 1 squared, this equals 1. 2 squared, this equals 4. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared 16. You can see what we're doing here. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 squared, and list these out. These will help us when we are dealing with square roots. Okay? Essentially, what a square root is the opposite of something squared. Okay, so for instance, if I have 1 squared is 1, well then the square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3, and so on. Okay? And these also can actually be positive or negative because -1 times -1 is +1. Okay? And -1 and positive, so -2 times -2 is +4, just like +2 times +2 is +4. Okay, so square root of 16 is 4, square root of 25 is 5. Okay, square root of 36 is 6, and so on. And you can make a long list if that will help you figure these out. So if we come over here and take a look, we have the square root of 289. So it's asking what number times itself equals 289. So is actually 17. So 17 times 17 equals 289. So the square root of 289 equals 17. Okay. Number 2 here, we actually have that listed out right here. So square root of 36 is 6. Okay. Number 3 throws a decimal in there. Okay, the square root of 169 is 13, so we get 1.3. Okay, and then when we have a fraction, we can break this apart by doing the square root of the top and the square root of the bottom. And that's going to give us 2/5. So the square root of 4/25 is 2/5. Okay, and then here we have plus or minus the square root of 225. That means both the positive and the negative value of 225. And this is, 2.25 is 15. So we get 1.5. Okay, square root of 225 is 15. So the square root of 2.25 is 1.5. Okay. And again, it's both positive and negative 1.5. And this one's going to be both positive and negative. The square root of 49 divided by the square root of 64, positive and negative 7/8. Okay. There are more that you can try. Last one we're going to take a look at is 9 and 10. And is there a number that can multiply by itself and be negative? Okay, so the square root of positive 225 we talked about was 15, but there's no one number that can multiply by itself to equal a negative. So this is not possible, okay? Because two negatives don't equal a negative, and two positives multiplied don't equal a negative either. Okay, and same thing with number 10 here. We can't even take the opposite of something that is not possible. So this is not possible. Next, we're going to take a look at cube roots. It is the exact same idea, but it's the number that's multiplied by itself 3 times. So let's look at number 12 here first. The cube root of 1, well, 1 times 1 times 1 equals 1. So the cube root of 1 will be 1. And the cube root of 216 is 6 because 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. Now, if we take a look here at number 14, is there a number that can multiply by itself 3 times to be -8? Okay, well, there is -2 times -2 times -2. Negative times a negative is a positive, but when you multiply it by that third negative, the answer becomes negative. Okay, so the cube root of -8 is -2. Okay, and again, the square root of -1 would be -1. Okay, so there's some other for you to practice there as well.